Hey everyone, welcome to Sequence of Instructions. Thanks for joining me. If you've been following this series up to this point, you'll know in the last video I talked about we basically put all the basics together, and I talked about how moving forward we're going to be learning things that are a little more complicated and a little more specific to JavaScript and other languages, but not necessarily all languages. And so this video is the first in this new, more moderate, intermediate series. And the thing we're going to be learning today is first-class functions. This concept is not unique to JavaScript, but not many languages have first-class functions. Before we get into why they're usable, we're going to talk about basically what they are. What does it mean to have it to be a first-class function language? And basically what it means is you allow functions to be treated like other data types. So we learned about numbers and strings. Well, in languages that have first-class functions, we learn about arrays, objects, and in languages that have first-class functions, functions are also a data type, which means you can declare variables as functions, you can reassign functions, you can pass functions as parameters to other functions can return functions as results. So they're treated exactly like any other piece of data. And just to highlight the syntax or how you do that in JavaScript, it follows the same pattern of declaring any variable, var, variable name, equals, and rather than saying like 5 or some string or true or an array, we're going to actually just say function. And so this is going to follow what we learned about function declarations. So this first half you might have learned in our first video on variables. This second half you've seen in our video on functions. This is a function definition. And the rest follows whatever pattern you're using. So this function, let's say I wanted to, it's going to get a number, and it's going to return that number plus 5. Just a totally random function. Why does it do that? I don't know. It just does. Alright, and so you'll see if I were to do console.log the type of foo, what type of data is foo? It is a function. So right here should illustrate that, yep, JavaScript natively recognizes functions to be types of data. So this answers the question of how do you use it, but not necessarily why is it useful. And just to give you an example of why it's useful, I have this var foo, maybe I have another var bar that is a function, and this one's going to take a number and it's going to return that number minus 5. Alright? And I'm going to have another variable called what to do. And this is going to be nothing at first. But let's say I have some condition. Alright? And my condition, for this case, I'm just going to write true, but let's say maybe I ask the user, what do you want to do? Or I have some question, and depending on what they respond, in this case I'm saying if what they said yielded a true result, but depending on what they respond, I might want to do something differently. In one case I might want to do foo, and in another case I might want to do bar. But at runtime, I don't know what I want to do. I just know that the user is going to give me some data, it's going to decide what I want to do, and I'm then going to just do it. Right, that's basically what this little bit of code is saying. So I define a foo function, I define a foo and boo. I was meant to say bar. Foo bar are common, in computer science, they're common use patterns like hello world, or the fact that you use I as an iterator. Foo and bar are basically like common do nothing functions, just for example purposes. So I'm just say bar. So foo and bar, I define these two functions. I have some what to do variable that at first doesn't reference anything, null. But depending on some context, it's going to either assign itself to foo or assign itself to bar. And in variables, if foo was 5, it would be obvious, oh yeah, what to do equals 5. Or if I did what to do equals foo invocated, so invoked, if I invoked foo and I stored the result of foo into what to do, we've seen this before also. But I'm not invoking foo, I'm just passing the reference to it. And so we haven't really seen this before, but basically what's going to happen is what to do is going to point to the same function that foo points to. So you can think of these equal signs as pointers, pointers to data, or pointers to lists of data, pointers to objects. In this case, it's a pointer to a function, saying this function exists in memory. This variable foo references that function in memory. And I say what to do is going to also reference that function foo, if it's true. If it's not true, what to do is going to reference the function bar. So if I were to go down here and I were to go console.log type of what to do, well, I have a true here, so it's going to reference, oops, I wanted to say it was, oh my gosh. It's going to reference foo, and just to prove that to you, the type of is also going to be a function. So this what to do at this point, because I have true here, what to do equals foo. What to do is now a function. It is now the exact same function as foo. So if I did what to do equals foo, that's true. These are the exact same function. Is it bar? No, it's not. Bar is also a function, but they are not the same function. What to do after this line actually references the same function as foo. Alright, so again, why is this important? Well, basically you can change how you're, without writing all the logic in here. This is a little contrived because you could just say foo or bar. But suppose there's some other setup stuff I have to do, and I don't want to rewrite this setup stuff in both the if and the else. Well, I can have the what to do portion, the invocation of these, be separate, do all the setup the same once, and then invoke whichever one I meant to set up. And so here I'll do 10. So right now it's true. What to do is going to be foo. If I run it, what? Oh, come on, JSBin. Oh, I'm not console logging anything, am I? I want to console.log this. Maybe then JSBin will catch up. It did. Okay. So what to do equals foo. Foo takes a number and adds 5. So what to do of 10, so which would be foo of 10, is going to give me 15. If I made this false, changing nothing but the condition, you'll see it now executed bar. So bar of 10 is going to subtract 5. So what to do now references bar, and our function then subtracts 10. Even though we didn't change our code at all except for this condition, we invoke the exact same function, but because JavaScript allows you to treat functions as data types, assigning them and reassigning them, we're able to change how our program works. Now this is a very low level, or I guess shallow is a better word. It's a very shallow example of why first-class functions are useful. In the next video we're going to learn about callbacks, which basically introduces asynchronicity into JavaScript. We'll talk more about that, but that's when first-class functions really shine. So stay tuned for that video. If you have any questions on this, feel free to leave them in the comments. We'll be happy to get back to you. Until next time, take care. Bye.